Possessing the Rinnegan is not only the pinnacle of all dojutsu but also one of the possible ways to attain immortality. In the final battle at the Valley of the End, Sasuke believed that the power of the Rinnegan could allow him to transcend death and live forever to control the world from the shadows. Although he never revealed the exact method to achieve that, there are at least two reasonable possibilities that could enable a Rinnegan user to reach a state of immortality. The first method lies in the Naraka path, which grants the ability to summon the King of Hell. This entity has the power to restore damaged bodies and revive the dead. When Pain attacked the Hidden Leaf village, we witnessed him using the Naraka path to repeatedly repair and resurrect the bodies of the 6 paths of pain, making him nearly impossible to destroy completely. The question is, if this ability were applied to a living body instead of a corpse being controlled, could the user continuously regenerate and achieve infinite rebirth? If the King of Hell can endlessly restore the user's body, then becoming immortal would be entirely possible. However, the most promising method lies in the Preta path, which allows the absorption of chakra and grants the ability to rejuvenate the body. This was demonstrated in Nagato's case when he was resurrected by Kabuto using Edo Tensei. At first, Nagato's body was frail and aged. His hair had turned completely white from exhaustion. However, during his battle against Naruto and Killer Bee, he absorbed chakra from Killer Bee's tailed beast cloak and fully restored his physical condition, returning to his prime. This proves that a Rinnegan user can absorb life energy through chakra to halt aging and maintain the body in a perfect state. The advantage of this method is that it has no time limit. As long as the user can find a sufficient source of powerful chakra, they can maintain their vitality indefinitely. While some might see this as an immoral act, in reality, the user does not need to kill anyone but can simply absorb energy from those willing to share it. In this way, lifespan can be extended endlessly, and it is not even necessary to awaken the Rinnegan personally, as one can inherit it from another, like Nagato with Madara's Rinnegan. This is clearly one of the most practical ways to approach immortality in the shinobi world. Becoming the 10 Tails Jinchuriki. Becoming the Jinchuriki of the 10 Tails is one of the most arduous and dangerous paths to attaining absolute power and achieving immortality in the world of Naruto. To achieve this, one must first gather all 9 tailed beasts, a task that even the strongest shinobi considered impossible. The Akatsuki organization, composed entirely of S-rank criminals with power rivaling the Kage, spent many years hunting down each of the tailed beasts. During this process, they not only had to face the terrifying strength of the beasts themselves, but also overcome the strict protection of the shinobi villages where they were sealed. However, capturing the tailed beasts is only the first step. To merge them, the user must possess the Rinnegan, one of the 3 great legendary dojutsu and the ultimate Kekkei Genkai of the shinobi world. Only with the Rinnegan can one summon the demonic statue of the Outer Path, which serves as the vessel used to seal and unite the tailed beasts into the 10 Tails. Obtaining the Rinnegan itself is far from simple. To awaken this eye, one must combine the chakra of Indra and Asura, the 2 descendants of the Sage of 6 Paths, or receive power directly from Hagoromo Otsutsuki. This makes the Rinnegan an ability possessed by only a few individuals in history. Among them, Madara was the first to successfully replicate this process. He implanted Hashirama cells into his own body, merging the 2 opposing chakras, and awakened the Rinnegan in the final years of his life. However, he could only use it near the end of his lifespan, which demonstrates how extremely difficult the process truly is. Furthermore, to ensure that the Rinnegan would not be lost, Madara implanted it into Nagato, a member of the Uzumaki clan known for its vast chakra reserves and extraordinary vitality. When someone becomes the Jinchuriki of the 10 Tails, they obtain power beyond human comprehension. Their body merges with the 10 Tails' energy, granting them infinite regeneration, physical immortality, and even the ability to reshape the world itself through sheer willpower. This power was once said to recreate the era of the Sage of 6 Paths, a divine force capable of either destroying or rebirthing the world according to the user's desire. This is undoubtedly the most difficult path to immortality in Naruto. Not only must one capture all 9 tailed beasts, but they must also possess the Rinnegan, a condition that almost no one in history has ever been able to fulfill. Living Corpse Reincarnation. Living Corpse Reincarnation is a technique created by Orochimaru. This form of immortality does not extend the lifespan of a single body, but allows him to transfer his soul into another vessel. Through this method, Orochimaru has survived for decades, constantly seeking the perfect host to continue his existence. He developed this technique to fulfill his desire to master all ninja knowledge, a goal that no ordinary human could ever achieve within one lifetime. When performing Living Corpse Reincarnation, Orochimaru reveals his true form as a giant white snake composed of countless smaller snakes, then abandons his current body to devour the new host. His soul then invades the victim's spiritual realm and consumes their consciousness, taking full control of their body. The outer snake body dies and disintegrates, while Orochimaru's soul completely possesses the new vessel. The most terrifying aspect of this technique is that once he possesses a body, he inherits all of that person's skills and abilities, which explains his obsession with individuals who possess rare Kekkei Genkai. At first, he targeted Itachi Uchiha but failed miserably. He then turned his attention to Kimimaro, who had the power to manipulate his own bones, but the latter's incurable illness prevented the plan from succeeding. Eventually, Orochimaru placed his greatest bet on Sasuke Uchiha, believing that he would become strong enough to serve as the perfect vessel for his soul. Although this technique is effective, it has severe limitations. Each body can only contain Orochimaru's soul for about 3 years before rejecting it, forcing him to constantly search for new hosts. Furthermore, to obtain a powerful vessel, he must first defeat that person, which always carries tremendous risk. His ambition ultimately led to tragedy when Orochimaru attempted to take over Sasuke's body but was instead absorbed by Sasuke. Even so, this remains one of the most terrifying forms of immortality in the shinobi world. In theory, Orochimaru could live forever if he found the perfect host. His knowledge and mastery of immortality far surpass any other ninja, making him a true symbol of ambition and obsession with eternal life. Cursed Seal. If Living Corpse reincarnation allows Orochimaru to transfer his soul into a new body, then the Cursed Seal is the key that enables him to maintain his existence even when his main body is destroyed. When he places the seal on a subordinate, Orochimaru implants a fragment of his own soul and chakra into them, turning the bearer into a backup source for his resurrection. This technique not only enhances the recipient's power, but also preserves a spiritual link between them and Orochimaru, allowing him to return at any time through the Cursed Seal, making his complete destruction almost impossible. This was clearly demonstrated during the Fourth Great Ninja War when Sasuke Uchiha used the Cursed Seal on Anko Midarashi's body along with Kabuto Yaku's DNA to perform the evil releasing method which freed Orochimaru's soul. He immediately reappeared in a complete physical form, fully conscious and aware of the events of the Fourth Great Ninja War, proving that his soul had retained consciousness within the Cursed Seal. What is remarkable is that although each Cursed Seal contains only a small portion of Orochimaru's chakra, he is still able to reincarnate in a complete form with his full power intact. Unlike Living Corpse reincarnation, which requires a powerful and compatible vessel and carries great risk, the resurrection through the Cursed Seal is much simpler and more effective as Orochimaru can return, with a complete body without any complex ritual. It can be explained that Anko's Cursed Seal contained an unusually large amount of chakra since she was the first disciple to receive the mark from Orochimaru. Moreover, Kabuto's DNA, which at that time possessed the Snake Sage mode, might also have played a role in the resurrection process. However, the manga never provided a detailed explanation of this mechanism, leaving the entire process as an unresolved mystery. Even more terrifying is the fact that when Sasuke, Karen, and Suigetsu rescued Jugo from prison, they encountered an army of people bearing Cursed Seals. If the theory that the Cursed Seal can truly resurrect Orochimaru is correct, it would mean that dozens of individuals exist with a fragment of his soul inside them. The mere thought of that makes Orochimaru's immortality one of the most horrifying concepts in the entire shinobi world. Although there remain many unclear and seemingly illogical aspects, the Cursed Seal is still one of Orochimaru's most fearsome forbidden techniques, serving both as a tool of control and a network of resurrection, ensuring that he will never truly disappear from the ninja world. Earth Grudge Fear. This is the method that allowed Kakuzu to extend his lifespan in an extraordinary way. He had lived since the early days of the Hidden Leaf Village and was even assigned to assassinate Hashirama Senju, who was regarded as the strongest shinobi of his era. Although the mission failed, Kakuzu survived and continued to exist for decades, far beyond the natural lifespan of any human. The secret lies in the forbidden technique Earth Grudge Fear, a jutsu that transformed Kakuzu's body into a structure stitched together by extremely durable and flexible black threads. Through this, he could sew his body back together, reconnect damaged parts, and most importantly, steal the hearts of the shinobi he killed and integrate them into his own body. Each stolen heart became an independent source of life, allowing Kakuzu to survive even if his main body was destroyed. Moreover, these hearts retained the chakra nature of their original owners, including their nature transformation abilities. As a result, each heart within Kakuzu's body possessed a different chakra element, allowing him to use all 5 basic natures. He could keep these hearts within his body or let them operate independently to attack, creating separate masks capable of fighting on their own, which made him one of the most difficult opponents to eliminate in the entire shinobi world. However, Earth Grudge Fear does not grant absolute immortality. Once all of his hearts are destroyed, Kakuzu dies like any other human. This was clearly shown in his battle against Naruto when the Rasen Shuriken destroyed 2 of his hearts at once, causing him to completely lose his immortality advantage. Even so, this forbidden technique remains extremely effective. As long as he can find new hearts to replace the old ones, Kakuzu can continue extending his life, becoming a living ghost that haunts the battlefield eternally. Unlike Orochimaru, who must seize entire bodies to prolong his life, Kakuzu only needs to steal hearts. It is a less invasive method, but equally cold and ruthless. For a shinobi with Kakuzu's strength and combat experience, finding new hearts to replace old ones has never been a challenge. During the Fourth Great Ninja War, even though Kakuzu had already achieved immortality through Edo Tensei, he still continued stealing the hearts of fallen shinobi, proving that his technique not only allowed him to survive, but also enhanced his combat power on the battlefield. Becoming a puppet, Sasori discovered his own path to immortality through art. He abandoned his human body and transformed his entire being into a puppet, erasing all the limitations of organic life. When he reappeared after 20 years, his face had not changed at all. As Chiyo once said, Sasori still looked exactly the same as when he lived in the village, as if time itself had never touched him. The core of Sasori's existence was a living core, a small biological component that sustained his consciousness and life force. Through this core, Sasori could transfer himself from one puppet body to another, preserving his identity even if his puppet body was destroyed. His mechanical body made of wood and metal allowed him to no longer age, require food, or be affected by the passage of time. However, that same core was also his fatal weakness. Once it was destroyed, Sasori's entire puppet body collapsed instantly. Chiyo and Sakura discovered this weakness and used it to defeat him. Although Sasori's art brought him close to immortality, in the end, that very core became the cause of his death. Immortality of Jashin. When speaking of immortality in the shinobi world, it is impossible not to mention Hidan. Unlike others who rely on forbidden jutsu or scientific experimentation, his immortality originates from his absolute faith in Jashin, the deity he worships. According to the teachings of the Jashin faith, every act of destruction, pain, and sacrifice is considered a way to honor their god. Hidan performed human blood sacrifice rituals to offer to Jashin, and as a result, he was granted a truly immortal body, completely immune to any fatal injury. Even when stabbed through the heart, decapitated, or cut into pieces, Hidan remained alive, becoming the only being in history capable of complete immortality without depending on ninjutsu. This divine blessing also allows him to perform the curse technique death-controlling possessed blood, which is his most brutal and dangerous ability. To activate it, Hidan must obtain his opponent's blood, ingest it, and draw the symbol of Jashin on the ground using his own blood. Once he steps inside the circle, his body turns black with white skeletal markings, transforming him into a living voodoo doll. From that moment, any injury Hidan inflicts on himself is mirrored onto his target. In this way, he killed Asuma by stabbing himself directly in the chest, piercing his own heart. However, Hidan's immortality is not truly infinite. He can still die under certain conditions. In reality, his power depends on his ability to move and perform sacrifice rituals to maintain his connection with Jashin. During their final battle, Shikamaru exploited this weakness, luring Hidan into the Nara clan forest, then detonating explosive clay to blow his body apart and bury him underground. In that state, Hidan was left trapped without any means of escape, condemned to die slowly from starvation. Although death by malnutrition was later confirmed in the databook, many fans consider this explanation unsatisfying, believing that he may still be alive, buried beneath the ground. Whatever the truth may be, Hidan's immortality remains one of the most intriguing mysteries in the entire shinobi world. Releasing oneself from Edo Tensei, Madara Uchiha freeing himself from Edo Tensei was one of the most shocking moments of the Fourth Great Ninja War. It is also considered one of the most effective and unpredictable forms of immortality in the entire world of Naruto. As known, Edo Tensei is a forbidden jutsu created by Tobirama Senju, and later perfected by Orochimaru and Kabuto Yakushi. This technique allows the summoner to call back the soul of a deceased person into a living sacrifice, creating a body with immortality, infinite regeneration, and an endless supply of chakra. However, the revived individual is always under the complete control of the summoner. When Kabuto resurrected Madara, he retained his awareness and independent will, which was already an extremely rare occurrence. Although Kabuto did not completely suppress Madara, he still held the ultimate control until Itachi Uchiha used Izanami to force Kabuto to release the technique. Normally, when Edo Tensei is released, all the revived bodies disappear, and their souls are freed. Before his soul could be drawn back to the afterlife, Madara performed a hand sign to sever the binding contract with the summoner, cutting the link that tied his soul to the technique. As a result, Madara retained his Edo Tensei body with infinite regeneration and complete immunity to physical damage, yet free from Kabuto's control. In other words, he became the perfect version of Edo Tensei, immortal, independent, and completely free to act. This was unprecedented. Even Hashirama Senju, whose chakra was strong enough to resist control, could not break the summoning contract as Madara did. This act required not only an immense amount of spiritual power, but also a profound understanding of the structure of this forbidden jutsu, something only a genius like Madara could accomplish. Despite the advantages of Edo Tensei, when Madara was later revived through Rinne Tensei, many believed he had made a mistake by abandoning his immortality. However, his living form proved to be far stronger than his reincarnated one, powerful enough to overwhelm the entire shinobi alliance and even easily recapture the tailed beasts. This demonstrates that although Edo Tensei grants a form of immortality, it still imposes certain limitations on the user's true power. In conclusion, Madara Uchiha freeing himself from Edo Tensei stands as ultimate proof of the difference between a true genius and the rest of the shinobi world. Even though Edo Tensei was considered the perfect form of immortality, Madara surpassed it entirely. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos.